Your hands are disgusting. Don't touch anyone. My mother's words sliced through the hospital corridor like a blade. For a second, everything went silent. Doctors stood frozen. Reporters turned their cameras. Nurses whispered under their breath. And in the center of it all stood my sister, Alina, bathed in praise, wearing that practiced smile she had perfected over the years. The hero. The woman they were thanking for saving dozens of lives during the hospital fire. I stood a few feet away, smoke still clinging to my clothes, my palms raw and blistered from forcing open a jammed emergency stairwell. She was being celebrated for my work. Again, I should have been angry. I should have stepped forward and exposed her right there. But revenge is never strongest in the moment of rage. It is strongest in silence. The betrayal had started months earlier. Alina and I had once been close, or at least as close as two sisters raised in the same broken house could be. She was charm and confidence. I was the quiet one, the observer, the mind behind the curtain. After our father died in a hospital evacuation failure, something changed inside me. He'd been trapped on the 8th floor because the emergency system malfunctioned. I never forgot the helplessness in my mother's screams that night. So I built something better. For nearly 2 years, I worked in silence. Night after night, I designed an advanced hospital evacuation protocol, a system that used smoke detection, real-time occupancy tracking, and automated route control to guide people safely through emergencies. It was more than code. It was grief-given structure. Pain turned into precision. One evening, Alina came into my room while I was still working. She leaned over my desk, flipping through the pages. Her eyes widened. "This is brilliant," she whispered. I still remember how proud I felt. That was my mistake. A few weeks later, she landed a high-profile job at Hale Medical Systems. I was happy for her. I even helped her prepare for the interview. Then, 6 months later, I saw her standing on a stage. A giant screen behind her displayed a hospital safety framework. My framework? Every line, every structure, every feature, even the names of the routing sequences were mine. For a moment, I just stared. My heart didn't break all at once. It cracked slowly, quietly. I confronted no one, not her, not my mother, who called it jealousy. Instead, I started collecting evidence. Old design drafts, time-stamped backups, cloud access logs, voice notes where Alina had asked me technical questions she clearly didn't understand. Then I found the final proof, a shared drive folder I had forgotten to remove her access from. Inside was the upload history, her employee credentials, the exact date my design had been transferred. 3 days before the company's internal proposal deadline. It was theft. Cold and deliberate. That night I made a choice. I would not scream. I would wait. Then the fire happened. I was in the hospital that morning for a systems interview. Fate has a dark sense of humor. The alarm erupted first, then the smoke. People began shouting and running. I looked toward the emergency panel and immediately saw the flaw. The manual override release was gone, the one feature I had built specifically for stairwell lock failures. They had removed it to cut costs, and Alina had either approved it or never even understood what it did. Either way, people were trapped. I ran into the service corridor. Every panel, every bypass route, every emergency code was burned into my memory. I had designed it. I manually forced the system override. The west stairwell unlocked. I guided group after group down through the smoke. 12 people. Then 6 more. Then I saw him. An older man collapsed near the lobby doors, coughing violently. I pulled him up and dragged him outside. The metal handle burned into my hands. By the time the fire crews arrived, reporters had already gathered. And Alina was already speaking. "The emergency system functioned exactly as designed," she said, her voice steady. My mother stood beside her, glowing with pride. Then the man I had saved stepped forward. The entire atmosphere shifted. Victor Hale, founder and chairman of Hale Medical Systems, the man whose company had built Alina's career. He looked directly at me, then at her. "I think," he said calmly, "we are praising the wrong person." Silence fell. Alina's smile faltered. Victor held up a scorched folder. My folder. The interview folder I had dropped in the lobby during the fire. Inside were my original drafts. Signed development sheets, patent registration receipts, time-stamped schematics. Everything. He turned toward the cameras. "This woman did not create this system," he said. His voice was sharp, controlled, undeniable. "She stole it." The words hit harder than any scream. Alina tried to speak. "That's not true." Victor cut her off. The person who designed this system is the same person who just saved my life. Then he looked at me. In front of everyone, I believe the truth deserves the same audience as the lie. That was the moment everything collapsed. Internal investigations began immediately. Emails were recovered, access logs verified, technical interviews exposed what Alina never truly understood. The hero became the fraud. Her reputation crumbled piece by piece, and I never had to lift a finger. Weeks later, Victor offered me the position she once held, lead systems architect. My mother called that night. Her voice was softer than I had ever heard it. I was wrong. I looked down at my hands. The burns were healing now, thin pink scars crossing my palms, the same hands she had called disgusting. I smiled. These hands built something worth stealing. These hands saved lives, and in the end, these hands wrote the truth back into the story. I never needed revenge to be loud. I only needed it to be inevitable. And nothing is more satisfying than watching the truth walk into the room on its own.